Hey guys, tonight we're staying up way past bedtime because the city's sodium streetlights are flickering like they're trying to Morse code a warning, and I'm the idiot who keeps reading the dots. My name's Jax. Well, that's what the byline says on the grainy tabloid pages nobody frames anymore. Back in '94, I shot Polaroids for a rag that smelled like ink and desperation, the kind of paper you folded into your back pocket and forgot until it left blue smudges on your jeans. I chased councilmen snorting lines off zoning maps, CEOs fencing stolen hospital morphine, factory owners hosing fluorescent sludge straight into the river that fed our tap water. Every roll of film was a loaded gun, and every time I cocked the shutter, some suit upstairs yanked the trigger away. Libel chill, they called it. I called it a paycheck with a muzzle. So I walked, took my battered Leica, my last pack of PX 600, and vanished into the dial-up dusk where the real stories supposedly crawled. Experts still argue whether the early internet was a playground or a predator pit. All I know is the screech of a 28.8K modem sounds exactly like a scream stretched over copper wire. Urban legend says the first time someone typed "whereas" into a search bar, a ghost.exe attached itself to every future download. Cute, right? Except tonight, that ghost has my childhood address. I'm hunched in a phone booth-sized apartment above a 24-hour pawn shop that trades in broken Walkmans and dreams. The air smells of burnt plastic and the sesame oil drifting up from the noodle joint below. My monitor is a bulky CRT that hums like it's nursing a grudge. I'm scrolling private BBS boards, text-only mazes where handles like null pointer and gravedigger_88 swap rumors faster than viruses. That's when the cursor snags on a plain hyperlink, echoesbazaar.net. No banner, no ASCII art, just a blinking underscore begging for a click. I oblige. The screen blanks, then coughs up a page that looks like it was coded on a Commodore 64 by someone who'd never seen color. White background, Courier font, grainy GIFs loading one painful line at a time. First listing, a velvet wingback chair the size of a pickup truck, upholstery charred to charcoal lace, chains oxidized green around its clawfoot legs. Feathers, iridescent, impossibly long, spill across the forest floor like someone plucked a seraph and left the evidence. Caption, once thrown to Watcher. Watcher fled. Next, a mason jar quartet, each swirling with ink-black syrup that clings to the glass like liquid bruises. Harvested echoes. Consume responsibly. Then a bridal mannequin. Puffy sleeves, wilted veil. Posed in an abandoned roller rink. Then a moonlit dock. Then hovering behind a closed coffin while blue marker tears streak its plastic cheeks. Caption just repeats. Rings, rings, rings in all caps, like a wedding bell stuck on glitch. I should laugh. I should alt. F4 and chug the flat Mountain Dew sweating on my desk. Instead, I keep scrolling, because the next thumbnail is a mirror. Or it wants to be. The glass shows a toddler pushing a toy fire truck. Cute. Except a hulking silhouette in a burlap hog mask looms in the reflection, snout dripping condensation that isn't there in the room. Another mirror. A woman letting a mastiff lap crimson from her chin, smiling like it's Sunday brunch. Experts still argue whether analog reflections can lie. I'm starting to think digital ones just tell better lies. The final listing before the page loops is a rental ad for a split level in Perdition Heights, WA. Photos cycle. A front door bolted to the ceiling, hallway stretching into fractal vanishing points, then collapsing to a coat closet. Look away and the layout evaporates from memory like dream architecture. The only text, Taco Bell visible from attic. I snort, because of course the apocalypse comes with a drive-thru. Then the screen hiccups. A new item materializes. Thumbnail, a single Polaroid instant camera, cracked lens catching the flash like a blind eye. Title, Jax's lens, develops what festers. Price field blank. Checkout button replaced by a blinking cursor inside a box. Whisper the moment you let someone die. My pulse syncs with the CRT refresh rate. I've never told anyone about the playground, the rusted slide, the way Tommy Rinaldi's head split on the concrete while I hid behind the portables clutching my Spider-Man lunchbox. The modem shrieks. I type. The instant I hit enter, the power supply pops like a firecracker. Sparks shower the carpet. The room plunges into the pawn shop's red neon bleed. I sit in the dark, smelling ozone and sesame, wondering if confession just short-circuited my life. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your local time in the comments and name one thing in your room that's watching you back. I'll wait. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. 3 days later, the mail slot clatters. No stamp, no address, just my handle scrawled in purple marker. Inside, the camera from the listing, heavier than sin, faux leather peeling like sunburnt skin. A single pack of film nestled in the foam. 8 shots. Expiration date 1987. I tell myself it's a prank, load it anyway. The shutter clicks like a jawbone. I aim out the window at the pawn shop clerk locking up. The print slides out warm. 30 seconds later. There's the clerk, sure, but he's cradling a sobbing woman who isn't his wife, while a translucent child version of himself tugs at his sleeve, mouth sewn shut with fishing line. I gag on the sesame air. The child's eyes track me through the emulsion. I wish I'd never looked out that window. The pawn shop clerk's photo is still curling on my desk like a guilty tongue when the phone line rings. 3 short bursts, the old dial-up handshake. I haven't paid the bill in weeks, yet the receiver spits static that shapes itself into a single word. More. I slam the handset down so hard the bell inside keeps jingling like a trapped moth. Outside, the city's turned the color of nicotine stains under a sky that forgot to finish loading. I pocket the camera, the 8-pack of film, and the last of my cash. 3 crumpled 20s and a Subway token that might still work if the machines haven't unionized against me. First test subject, Mrs. Alvarez on the 3rd floor, the widow who waters plastic geraniums and files noise complaints about my typewriter at 2 a.m. I wait until she's dragging her trash to the chute. The flash pops white in the hallway's jaundice light. Print develops in my palm while the elevator groans upward. There she is, arms full of pilfered mail, someone else's welfare checks, someone else's love letters, stacked like bricks in a shrine. Behind her, a version of Mrs. Alvarez with fingers stretched into paper-thin ribbons sorts the envelopes by scent. The real widow shuffles past me humming La Bamba, oblivious. I tuck the photo inside my jacket. It feels damp, like it's sweating. Urban legend claims Polaroid emulsion used to contain silver iodide. Same stuff ghost hunters swear attracts specters. Real-world fact. By 1995, Kodak had already phased it out for cheaper halides. Guess this camera never got the memo. Experts still argue whether residual silver can trap more than light. Tonight the print is warm enough to brand my ribs. I ride the subway to the diner on 8th and Mercer where the coffee tastes like melted asphalt and the waitress calls everyone Han, even when she's spitting in your cup. I shoot the cook through the pass-through window. The photo shows him ladling gray slop from a bucket labeled Grade D but edible. Behind him, a doppelganger with a mouth like a meat grinder chews on something that still wears a name tag. I leave a 5 on the counter and bolt before the print finishes drying. The waitress's reflection in the chrome napkin dispenser winks at me with too many teeth. Back in the apartment, I spread the photos across the card table like tarot for the damned. Each one carries a watermark I didn't notice before, a faint spiral in the lower corner, rotating 1 click clockwise per hour. I line them up. The spirals form a hypnotist's wheel. My eyelids sag. The room tilts. Somewhere a modem dials itself and fails to connect. I wake with drool on the table and a new photo I don't remember taking. Me, asleep, with a child-sized silhouette sitting on my chest. Its face is a blank oval where the flash washed out every feature. The spiral watermark has jumped to the center of my forehead in the print. I need bigger fish. The kind with offshore accounts and private security. I prowl the financial district after midnight, when the glass towers reflect each other into infinity. I pick a name from the society pages. Vincent Harrow, real estate kingpin, the guy who turned condemned tenements into luxury lofts overnight. He's exiting a gala. tuxedo crisp, breath fogging the December air. Flash. The print develops in the alley's sodium glow. Harrow, standing on a pile of eviction notices that morph into tiny coffins. Behind him, a creature stitched from shadows and foreclosure signs leans in, whispering through a mouth made of padlocks. Its eyes are glowing lease agreements. I snap a second photo for insurance. The creature's head swivels toward the lens. By dawn, I'm running on vending machine coffee and paranoia. I upload the prints to a private BBS thread titled City Rot, Analog Proof. Caption: Who's got the paper trail on Harrow's body count? I use a fresh handle, negative space, and route it through 3 proxy nodes. The replies trickle in like blood from a paper cut. Someone posts a scan ledger. Someone else drops an address where Harrow allegedly stores problem tenants. I print the thread on the pawn shop's dot matrix, the paper still smelling of thermal chemicals and broken promises. That night, I dream in stop motion. Each frame is a photo sliding from the camera's mouth. Click. Mrs. Alvarez's ribboned fingers braid my hair. Click. The cook offers me a ladle of writhing gray. Click. Harrow's shadow creature signs my name on a lease written in ash. I wake gasping, the spiral watermark now etched faintly on my actual skin, just above the collarbone. It itches like a healing burn. I hit the streets again, camera heavier with every shot. A city councilwoman caught taking envelopes in a parking garage. Photo shows her bathing in a fountain of campaign funds while skeletal donors claw at her ankles. A pediatrician writing oxy scripts for middle schoolers. Print reveals him counting pills on a playground slide, while a bloated version of himself swings upside down, tongue lolling like a dog. Every monster is bespoke, tailored to the sin like a funeral suit. I post them all. The thread explodes. Handles I've never seen start private messaging me coordinates, burner phone numbers, promises of USB drops and library books. I'm drunk on the power of it, the way the lens peels scabs off the city's smile. But the spiral on my skin darkens. The camera's weight shifts, like something inside is growing. And every time I blink, I see the child's silhouette from the self-portrait photo standing at the edge of my vision, waiting for the next flash. The spiral on my collarbone has graduated from itch to pulse, a second heartbeat that syncs with the camera's shutter when I'm not even holding it. I catch my reflection in the pawn shop window at 3:17 a.m., and the mark glows faint violet, like a bruise lit from the inside. I haven't slept in 2 days. The city's neon has become a migraine I can't blink away. My answering machine, yes, I still have one, is full of hang-ups that last exactly 4.4 seconds, the length of a dial-up handshake failing to connect. Someone is pinging me from the other side of the veil. Urban legend says if you leave a Polaroid developing face down on a mirror overnight, the chemicals will print tomorrow's obituary. Real-world fact: instant film needs complete darkness to fix properly. Stray light fogs the image into ghosts. Experts still argue whether the ghosts come from the light or from what the light remembers. My apartment is a darkroom now, blackout curtains duct taped to the walls, red safe light bulbs scavenged from a defunct photo lab in Queens. I develop in the bathtub because the kitchen sink started bleeding fixer fluid the color of weak tea. I'm down to 3 shots. The camera's film door sticks now, like it's reluctant to give up its last breaths. I save them for the heavy hitters. First, Dr. Lang, chief of surgery at St. Dimphna's, caught sneaking out the service exit with a cooler the size of a toddler's coffin. Flash. Print. Lang knee-deep in prescription bottles, each one a tiny screaming face. Behind him, a version of himself with surgical steel claws counts cash on an operating table while the patient's chest cavity blooms like a red orchid. I crop the monster out before uploading. The pills alone are enough to start a thread titled Angel of Mercy or Merchant. Replies flood in. A nurse's badge number, a whistleblower's AOL address, a zip file of forged requisitions. I print everything, pin it to the wall with thumbtacks shaped like tiny nooses. Second shot. Cassandra Vale, trust fund princess whose DUI collection could fill a scrapbook. I catch her weaving through a charity auction in a dress that costs more than my rent for a decade. Flash. Print. The ballroom floor littered with crumpled fenders and shattered windshields. In the back seat of her phantom limo, a hag version of Cassandra weeps black mascara tears that spell, "Daddy fixes everything." The monster's nails are rearview mirrors reflecting every life she's totaled. I post the wreckage, tag it "Inheritance of Glass." Someone DMs me a police report redacted so heavily it looks like modern art. Another user mails me a cassette tape labeled "Listen in the Dark." I do. It's the 911 call from her latest crash, except the operator's voice is Cassandra's, begging herself to pull over. The wall is a mosaic now, curling edges overlapping like fish scales. The spiral on my skin has migrated to the center of my palm, a perfect stigmata of light. When I close my fist, the camera clicks on its own. I open my hand. A fresh print slides out, warm and wet. It's me, standing in the apartment, but the room behind me is empty except for the child's silhouette. Only now it's life-sized, wearing my face like a mask pulled too tight. The spiral watermark is branded across both our eyes. I need air. I stumble into the hallway, camera slung around my neck like an albatross. The building's fluorescent tubes buzz in minor thirds. Mrs. Alvarez's door is ajar. Inside, her television plays static snow that resolves into the hog-masked figure from the mirror listing. It tilts its head at me. I back away, trip over my own untied shoelace, and the camera swings forward. Flash. The bulb bursts in a magnesium scream. When my vision clears, the hallway is empty, but a new print is developing in my trembling fingers, the hitman. He's average height, forgettable face, windbreaker the color of wet pavement. In the photo he's standing exactly where I am now, but the lens is reversed. He's aiming a silenced pistol straight into the camera. Straight into me. Behind him, the hallway stretches into a slaughterhouse gallery, bodies zip-tied to radiator pipes, mouths open in silent O's. Their eyes are all spirals. The print is still warm when I reach my door and find the note taped there. A single strip of thermal paper, the kind that fades in sunlight. It reads negative space in dot matrix font. My handle. My grave marker. I don't remember packing. I only remember running. The camera bounces against my chest with every step, film door flapping like a broken wing. I ditch my pager in a storm drain, my wallet in a dumpster behind a Korean barbecue joint that smells of charred garlic and regret. The subway is my temporary bloodstream, silver cars pumping me from artery to vein. I ride the F train end to end, standing room only, bodies pressed close enough to share nightmares. Every few stops I lift the camera, aim at the crowd, and let the flash strobe white. The prints develop in my lap, commuters with commuter faces, but behind each one their private monsters ride for free. A stockbroker with a briefcase full of screaming infants. A nun whose rosary beads are human teeth. I stop counting after the 10th print shows the hitman 3 rows back, pistol raised, spiral eyes locked on me across the aisle. The train screeches into the last stop, somewhere under Coney Island, where the platform lights flicker like dying stars. I stumble out, the only passenger to disembark. The turnstiles are chained shut. The token booth is empty except for a single Polaroid pinned to the glass. Me, stepping off the train, taken from inside the booth. The spiral on my palm burns cold. I tear the photo down, crumple it, but the image reappears in my hand, uncrumpled, pristine. The hitman is closer now. I sprint up the emergency stairs, 2 at a time, lungs raw with rust and salt. The door at the top opens onto the boardwalk at 5 a.m., the sky the color of old dishwater. The amusement park is a skeleton of Ferris wheels and roller coasters, padlocked for winter. I duck into the funhouse, mirrors cracked and warped. My reflection multiplies into infinity, each one holding the camera, each one developing a different future where I don't make it out. I smash the nearest mirror with the camera body. Glass rains like frozen applause. The lens cracks further, spider-webbing across the front element. Blood from my knuckles mixes with the fixer fluid still leaking from the film door. The spiral on my palm drinks it in, darkens to arterial red. I keep moving. Motels that rent by the hour, laundromats where the dryers sound like distant artillery, all-night bodegas where the clerk sleeps, standing up. I pay in quarters and silence. Every mirror I pass shows the hitman one step closer. Every shadow I cast has his silhouette stitched to my heels. The camera is down to one shot. I save it the way a drowning man saves his last breath. The last frame of film feels like a bullet in the chamber. I cradle the camera the way a mother carries a feverish child, close, guilty, praying the heat breaks. Dawn is a rumor I no longer believe in. I've been walking the grid of this city so long my soles have memorized every sidewalk crack, every manhole cover that size when stepped on. The spiral in my palm has spread into a lacework of veins that glows whenever the camera's viewfinder brushes my eye. I can taste metal on my tongue, the way you do before lightning. I hole up in a 24-hour laundromat on the edge of Chinatown, the kind of place where the fluorescent tubes hum in Cantonese and the dryers birth clouds of lint that look like tiny ghosts. I feed a dryer quarters I panhandled from a sleeping tourist, just to keep the drum turning for white noise cover. The other patrons are night shift nurses, club kids coming down, and one old man who folds the same towel for 3 hours straight. I sit on a plastic chair that remembers every but it ever met and watch the window for reflections that don't match the room. Real-world fact. The average laundromat dryer reaches 135 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to sterilize a scalpel or incubate something that should stay dormant. Urban legend says if you leave a cursed object in a public dryer, it comes out clean but angry. Experts still argue whether the heat kills the curse or just teaches it patience. I wedge the camera between 2 damp bath towels and let the drum tumble it like a lottery ball. When the cycle ends, the lens is fogged with condensation that spells my handle in reverse. ECAPSEVITAGEN. The glass clears on its own, leaving no trace except the smell of scorched plastic and childhood guilt. I need a new city, a new name, a new life that doesn't come with a viewfinder. Greyhound Station at Port Authority is my last confession booth. I buy a ticket to anywhere with the last of my laundromat quarters. The clerk's eyes are bloodshot. When I hand her the change, our fingers brush and the spiral on my palm flares hot enough to brand. She doesn't flinch. Maybe she's seen worse. The bus idles like a chained dragon, exhaust curling into the February air. I board with nothing but the camera and the clothes I'm wearing, jeans stiff with subway grime, hoodie that used to be gray. Halfway to the tunnel, I raise the camera for the final shot. Through the viewfinder, the bus is a ribcage of strangers, each passenger haloed by their private monster. The driver's reflection has no face, just a rearview mirror where a mouth should be. I aim at the convex security mirror above the stairwell, the one that shows the whole aisle in funhouse distortion. Flash. The bulb pops with a wet sigh, the last of its magnesium life. The print slides out into my waiting fingers, already warm. I don't want to look. I do anyway. The photo shows the mirror, but the reflection is wrong. The bus is empty except for me, standing in the aisle, camera raised, and behind me, the hitman. He's not aiming the pistol anymore. He's lowering it. Almost gentle, the way you set down a phone after delivering bad news. Between us, the child silhouette from my childhood playground stands on tiptoe, reaching up to adjust the hitman's tie. Its face is still blank, but the spiral watermark has migrated to its tiny palm, pulsing in time with mine. The print's border is bleeding at the edges, silver halides crawling like frost. I flip it over. On the back, in handwriting that matches the note on my door, you developed the wrong negative. The bus lurches into the Lincoln Tunnel. Tiles blur past like film frames. I tear the photo in half, then quarters, then snow. The pieces refuse to separate. They knit themselves back together in my lap, seams glowing. The spiral on my skin climbs my wrist, my forearm, a living tattoo that tightens like a cuff. I understand now. The camera never needed film. The film was always me. I stumble off at the first stop in Jersey, some nowhere town where the streetlights are the color of old teeth. A payphone on the corner still works. I dial the only number I remember, my own apartment, the one I fled. The line connects on the first ring. My voice answers, but it's not mine anymore. It's layered, doubled, the way film soundtracks stack when the reels slip. Jax, it says, calm as a bedtime story, come home. The darkroom's ready. Click. Dial tone. I walk until the town dissolves into pine barrens and strip mall skeletons. The camera is lighter now, almost weightless, as if it's been hollowed out and filled with my absence. I find a diner that smells of burnt coffee and bacon grease, the kind of place where the waitress calls you sweetie and means it. I slide into a booth. The vinyl sighs like it's been waiting. I set the camera on the table between the ketchup and the sugar caddy. The lens stares up at the ceiling like a dead eye begging for closure. A waitress approaches, name tag, Lucy. She's young, maybe 19, ponytail fraying like overdeveloped film. She pours coffee without asking. Her hand trembles just enough to slosh a drop onto the formica. The droplet beads, then stretches into a tiny spiral before soaking in. She notices the camera. Neat antique, she says. My grandpa had one. Said it only took honest pictures. She smiles, and for a second the diner lights flicker into the red safe light of my apartment darkroom. I blink. The illusion passes. I push the camera toward her. Keep it. I'm done developing. She hesitates, then tucks it under her apron like contraband. The spiral on my arm fades to scar tissue, then to nothing. The weight lifts from my shoulders so suddenly I sway. Outside, the sun is coming up for real this time, thin winter light that smells of pine needles and possibility. I leave a 20 under the plate, even though the coffee was free. I walk to the edge of the parking lot where the woods start. Somewhere behind me, the diner door jingles. I don't look back. The camera is gone, but I can still hear the shudder in my pulse, soft, patient, waiting for the next confession. I'll hitch north, maybe Vancouver, maybe nowhere. I'll find a newspaper that still smells like ink, a darkroom that doesn't bleed. I'll take pictures of weddings and Little League games, anything that doesn't develop monsters. But first, one last warning, whispered to the pines and the wind and whoever's listening at 3 a.m. with headphones on. If you ever dial up a site called echoesbizarre.net, if the modem screeches and the screen coughs up relics that know your name, close the window. Delete your history. Pour salt on the keyboard and never click buy. Some lenses aren't meant to focus. Some negatives should stay buried in the fixer bath of childhood. And some cameras, well, they're still out there, tumbling in dryers, riding in apron pockets, waiting for the next honest shot. The spiral is gone from my skin, but I can feel it in the light meter of my eyes. Every sunrise is overexposed now. Every shadow has a watermark. Sleep tight, if the shutter lets you. The pines thin out into a truck stop off Route 1, where diesel fumes mingle with the ghost of someone's breakfast burrito. I've been walking since the diner, thumb out, boots scuffing frost off the asphalt. A rig with Manitoba plates finally breaks for me. The driver, a woman named Marisol with a voice like warm honey over gravel, doesn't ask questions. She just hands me a thermos of coffee strong enough to strip paint and says, "Northbound's as good a direction as any when the rear view's haunted." I climb in. The cab smells of pine air freshener and cinnamon gum. The radio plays low, some late-night call-in show where insomniacs confess to DJs who sound half asleep themselves. I don't tell Marisol about the camera, but she glances at my empty hands like she can see the negative space where it used to hang. "You travel light," she says. I nod. The spiral scar on my palm is just a faint white crescent now, like a healed paper cut. Every mile marker we pass feels like another frame advancing in a film strip I'm no longer developing. We stop at a rest area outside Augusta. Snow starts to fall. Fat, lazy flakes that melt on the windshield before the wipers can touch them. Marisol heads inside for more coffee. I stay in the cab, watching the flakes commit suicide against the glass. That's when I notice the payphone bolted to the cinder block wall. Its receiver dangles by its cord, swinging like a pendulum. Something compels me. I cross the lot, boots crunching salt. The phone is already off the hook. I press it to my ear. Static, then breathing, not mine. A child's voice, small and echoey, the way voices sound in tiled bathrooms. "Jax, you left the darkroom door open." Click. Dial tone. I drop the receiver like it's hot. The cord coils back into the box with a metallic slither. Marisol returns, steam curling from her new cup. You okay? You look like you saw the Jersey Devil doing taxes. I force a laugh that tastes like rust. We roll out. The snow thickens into a wideout that erases the horizon. The radio dissolves into hiss. Marisol flips it off. Silence pools between us, thick as the coffee. Hours later, she drops me at a crossroads where three highways pretend to meet. There's a 24-hour photo kiosk in the corner of a grocery store parking lot, the kind that prints passport shots and memories nobody wants. The neon open sign flickers in Morse I can almost read. Marisol hugs me goodbye. Quick, fierce, the way truckers do when they know they'll never see you again. Her rig rumbles away, taillights swallowed by snow. I'm alone with the kiosk and the hush of falling white. Inside, the air is warm and smells of toner and burnt sugar. The machine is an island of light. Touch screen cracked, coin slot jammed with a 1993 quarter. I don't have film, don't have a camera, don't have anything left to expose. But the screen wakes at my touch, cycling through sample images, smiling graduates, crying babies, weddings where the bride's eyes are closed. Then it stops on a single thumbnail. Me, standing in this exact spot, snow in my hair, palm raised to show the spiral scar. The timestamp reads 10 minutes from now. I stumble backward. The automatic door whooshes open, letting in a gust of snow and the smell of pine from Marisol's air freshener. On the counter sits a fresh pack of instant film. 8 shots, expiration date tomorrow. A note in Lucy from the diner's handwriting. Honest pictures don't retire. They reload. The kiosk printer whirs. A single print slides out. The hitman, sitting in Marisol's passenger seat, pistol resting on his knee, spiral eyes staring straight into the lens. Behind him, the child's silhouette waves goodbye with my own hand. I run. The snow is knee-deep now, erasing my footprints almost as fast as I make them. I don't know where I'm going. Only that standing still means developing into someone else's photograph. The woods close around me, branches heavy with white. Every trunk I pass bears a faint spiral carved into the bark, glowing softly like frostbite bioluminescence. I follow them because they're the only path left. Deep in the trees, I find a clearing. In the center, a wingback chair the size of a pickup truck, upholstery charred, chains green with age. Feathers, iridescent, impossibly long, drift across the snow like ash from a fallen star. The Echo's Bazaar.net listing come to life. I laugh until my lungs ache. The sound scares a crow from the branches. It wheels overhead, cawing in modem screech. I sit in the chair. The chains are cold, but don't bind me. Snow settles on my shoulders like dandruff from heaven. I close my eyes. When I open them, the clearing is gone. I'm back in my old apartment above the pawn shop, red safe light glowing. The wall a mosaic of every monster I ever exposed. The card table holds a fresh camera, brand new, lens pristine. 8 packs of film stacked like bricks. On the screen, the BBS thread City Rot, analog proof, has a new reply from negative space. Reloading in new city. Who's got the paper trail on the next sin? The spiral on my palm itches again, newborn. I pick up the camera. The shutter clicks like a promise kept. Somewhere, a modem dials and connects. The darkroom door swings wide, inviting me to step through and start the next roll. But you're still here, aren't you? Earbuds in, lights low, fan humming its lullaby. Let me slow the frame rate now. Let the snow outside your window hush the world. The monsters are tired. The lens is resting. The spiral fades to a whisper, a scar, a memory you can almost forget. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 4, out for 8. Feel the mattress cradle you the way that giant chair cradled me. Gently, finally. Whatever you confessed in the comments tonight, whatever small guilt you typed with shaking thumbs, let it develop into forgiveness while you sleep. The darkroom is locked. The film is safe. The only exposure left is moonlight on your pillow, soft and honest and overexposed in all the right ways. If you dream of cameras, dream of them empty. If you dream of spirals, dream of them unwinding into ordinary circles. wedding rings, coffee stains, the orbit of planets that never asked for your sins. Dawn is coming, pixel by pixel. Close the tab. Unplug the modem. Let the fan spin you into tomorrow. And whatever you do, don't search for echoesbazaar.net. Some sites only load when you're not looking. Good night. The shutter's closed. The snow keeps falling, but it's someone else's story now. You're warm. You're safe. You're undeveloped. End of script. Sleep tight, if you can.